What's going on, guys? My name is Beau McCullough, and I'm with the Rooted Youth Ministry, and this is my youth pastor, Jared Morphew. He's the one who hosts these podcasts on this channel, and we decided to switch it up today. I'm gonna be announcing it. So,
It'll be good. I like it. So what are we going to be talking about today?
we can talk about. I was thinking of a few other things, but really, what's hitting me is idols. Talking about idols. Just everything about putting stuff above God and how we think about other stuff over God a lot
Right.
during the day. So,
When you and Bella walked in to church, you guys were discussing this. What were y'all talking about?
it was mostly about the fact that we think of other things other than God, whether that be like homework, it could be schoolwork, which is the same thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But trips you're going on, your family, it could be sickness, it could be anything. But putting that over God, we need to be thinking about God throughout the day, and we can incorporate that with our schoolwork, with our sickness, with our family and friends that we're thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
and pray for them, pray for our school, pray for our
Yeah.
trips. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's good to have, pay attention to your schoolwork and have good hobbies. It's just whenever it crosses a fine line between a hobby or something that's fun to do or something you need to do, and then there's a where it's an excess, where it's too much. And even then, I would say like work, it's not really an idol because it's not something people tend to worship. It's just they feel like they need to do more of it to make money. Or like you guys, you could be doing something that's good. Like I want to work more hours this summer so I can work up to get this, whatever it is you're getting, a truck or anything else, insurance for your vehicles. But to have something like I'll use video games for example. Some guys they like to play 8 to 12 hours a weekend or more on video games. Or some people will sit up and they'll I don't know you call it vegging out where people will watch a streaming platform, Hulu, Netflix, something like that, and they'll
Oh
watch
yeah,
it
just binge watch it.
all weekend long or all week when they get a week off. And does it take front and center stage of your affections? That's just it, your affections.
And it does in a way. I used to be like that a lot, and just recently I've been letting go of a lot of stuff, but it always just made me feel like something inside of me. It just made me feel bad for just
Mm,
sitting. Like if I sat in my room for just a few hours watching stuff, I'm like, dude, I need to get out of here. I need to go do something. I need to breathe fresh air.
yeah.
I'm wasting my time watching something that's not important.
We were talking about that last night. Remember, we were talking about the reels, how you get in that
There's
loop
just
where
that,
you just get in that.
yeah.
It just it's like a black hole. You
I
just get
forgot what I
into it.
forgot what they call it. Oh, I forgot, but it's doom scrolling.
Oh,
That's
doom
what it is.
scrolling.
Doom
Yeah,
scrolling. You
yeah,
just because you're like, okay, last one, and then you're scrolling, and you say last one, and then you're
yeah.
scrolling. It just keeps going. It's
Mm-hmm.
a cycle.
It does. And in Exodus 34:14, there's a verse comes to mind, and I got two of them here. It's just random because we didn't prepare for this. Like me and Bo, this is random. I didn't tell him what we're going to be talking about. I truly didn't know, and I heard him and Bella walking in 10 minutes ago, and they were talking about idols and things taking place of God in your life. I just overheard them. So when they came in here, I asked him about it. Before he could give me answers, I said, wait until the show starts, and you can talk about that. But I happen to have some verses here just randomly. It's for actually tomorrow's podcast with Byron. But we're going to be talking about jealousy and envy and covetousness and things like that. And there's two verses that stick out to me about what we're talking about having idols and putting things above God. And I've taught this before in the youth, where our God is a jealous God and he doesn't want any idols above us. And in Exodus chapter 34:14, it says, "For you shall worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God." That's powerful. I mean, he's a jealous God. He wants your affections, he wants your time, he wants your attention. I would say he doesn't need your money. He doesn't need anything, but he
Yeah,
just wants you to be willing to give those things. What do you think?
because I mean, it's just everything that he's done for us.
Mhm.
Literally everything.
Mhm.
I mean, where we are at right now, he did this for us.
That's right.
He he made this world for us with the people for us to interact with.
Mhm.
And and most importantly, he saved us from our sins
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
by dying on the cross. And I just think that in my head, if I were the creator of things
Mhm.
and I like gave them infinite amount of love,
Mhm.
infinite amount of mercy. I gave them all these things so that they can enjoy life and then later on enjoy life with me in heaven.
Right.
And then they turn their backs on me and then they start worshiping other things
Yeah.
or they get angry at you.
Or use your name as a cuss word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just forget you. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why would you do this?
Right.
Like, I did all of this for you, and all you're gonna do is just turn your back on me.
Right. And that's that the wrath of God. You know, it
Mhm.
talks in another verse in Deuteronomy 4:24. Kind of goes what we're talking about. It says, "For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God." And he has the most righteous jealousy. He has righteous anger. Not like us, where our anger is misguided.
Yeah.
Our wrath is misguided. It can be
Mhm.
hateful. His is perfect and just and true. And ours is not that at all. We have we have, I don't know, I'd hate to say attributes of God. God created us in his image. So we're going to be able to feel love and joy and all these different emotions like jealousy and anger. But with us being fallen
It's
and sinful,
imperfect.
it's imperfect. Exactly.
It's all scarred up. And I want to get back on when you talked about him being just, because a lot of people believe that, God sends us
Yeah. He's a
to
big meanie.
hell.
No.
He's a big meanie.
Right.
He's gonna hurt us. He's gonna
Hmm.
persecute us. He just likes to watch us suffer in pain.
Right.
But the reason that we suffer, the reason we have pain, is because it all derives from sin.
Hmm.
It's all because of what we did,
Hmm.
not what God did.
Right.
God allowed us to do this for free will because he wants a true relationship with us and not one that is forced or one where we're all in heaven and we don't know any better.
Right. Yeah.
He
That's not
wants
true love.
Yeah, that's not true love. He wants a true relationship with us where we can make our own decisions. And people do make their own decisions,
Hmm.
and that is what sends people to hell. They send themselves because they chose that path. They chose to live without God
Hmm.
in their life. They're going to choose to live without God for eternity,
Yes.
vice versa.
Well, it's like, Judas, he was with Jesus 3 years of ministry every day, seeing the same things the disciples did, was with the Son of God. And he still chose not to join or to believe that Jesus is who he says he is. And I believe he had every opportunity. It's like Pharaoh. God knew they were never going to turn to him. He knew, so he used that. And God will use people like Pharaoh. He knew he would never. He knew he would never turn back or turn to God. God knew he wouldn't turn to himself. So what did he do? He hardened his heart. He just made it quicker. He made the things happen faster to bring honor and glory to his name. So everybody says, "Look what God did." Instead, and I believe they used Judas in the same way. But going back to free will and choices and things like that, I don't have a Calvinistic bend. I don't think that there's such a thing as predestination, like we're predetermined to go to heaven or hell. This group over here are matchsticks, and this group over here is golden, like that. Just because God said so, and He could if He wanted to. He is sovereign. If
Mhm.
He wanted to do that, He absolutely could. I'm not saying He couldn't, but for us to truly have love for him, it's like the angels. They rebelled. Rebelled wouldn't even be a word or in the dictionary if they didn't have that choice. You see what I'm saying? So Satan rebelled. A third of the angels fell with him because they chose to rebel because they wanted what God had. Now, here on earth, same thing. We can choose to be with God or rebel against him. We have that same choice, that same opportunity. And what makes it love is like me and Amanda, my wife, where I can ask her to marry me and all these things, but she has a choice of yes or no. And for her to say yes, she actually says yes to me. She chose me as well, which makes it great. It makes it awesome because I know she feels the same way I do. It's special. It's not manufactured love.
Really, and that's like something else I want to talk about because there's people that sadly do have forced relationships out there, and I just don't understand the mindset because you're forcing a relationship, you're not getting any love from that.
Mm-hmm.
There's they don't love you.
Right. Yeah. They
How do you,
might care about you, but
it,
it's not true love.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
How can you do that and feel loved when you know what I mean? Like
I
it's
do know
just
what you mean. It just doesn't make any sense to
yeah,
me.
I don't know how to completely explain it, but
Right. Well, we're not programmed to do certain things, and where we dropped into a certain situation that we can't help? Yes. I can't choose and pick the family I was born into. You can't. The people listening can't. They can't choose what they're born into. But God placed them there for a certain reason. He gave
Mm.
them that personality for a certain reason, and He put them there at a certain time for a certain reason. Now, it's up to you if you want to adhere to the Holy Spirit and accept Jesus and use the gifts God gave you to His glory or just to your demise. It's one way or the other. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's what you want to do with it. And like you've chosen to follow God's path. What do you want for my life? And you're still open to the idea of whatever God still has for you. Like I know you're only 17. Your mind's not set in stone on what I'm going to do the
Yeah.
rest of my life, but you're open to what God wants and you're seeking His will. And that's a wonderful thing. So, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, it was just on my mind,
Hmm.
and then it just
What
went
does it have to
went
do
away.
with?
It was what we were talking about, but I can't. Oh yeah, it was the family that you're born into.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Is the place that you're born into.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't choose that. Okay. But God, like you said, has put you in that place
Mm-hmm.
to strengthen you. Because there are people out there that um have a hard time at home.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. People have a hard time at home. They don't have the most amount of money, they're not very fortunate. But I believe that God put them in that place because because God has a plan for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people that get out of that are the strongest people mentally because they try their best to get out of the circumstance that they were put into, and God has a plan for them.
Yeah.
He those are I feel like those are the strongest people that God has set a mission for them to turn it around and do something good with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and He gives everybody all around the world. There are people that I can minister to and will listen to me and give me an ear, where other groups of people, they're like, they won't have, they'll hear me out, but it doesn't really resonate with them.
Mm,
Whereas somebody that struggled growing up and they're like, they can resonate with that. It's like, that guy gets me. He understands what I've been through, and boom, you got their ears. Or it could be somebody like way up there, high class, born into the silver spoon family, and they don't understand the people that struggling, but they understand what it's like to be the son of a man or a daughter of a man who expects so much of them to achieve what he's achieved. And all of a sudden, you got this other guy that's grown up in the same type of family, and he's a Christian, and he's got these ministries going. He's doing all kinds of benefits, and throwing charity and things like that. And he or she can resonate saying, I know what you're talking about. Well, look what God's done for me. And it's just, everybody's different. And not only that, it's all the way around the world, because there's places that you and I have never stepped foot and never will. And their story, their testimony is going to be so much different than ours. I love to hear them, and it inspires me, even though if I can't resonate with it, but it's going to speak to other people louder than others. That's why we're so different. Everybody's different because we need those different voices we need a different perspective
yeah.
all the way around.
So how did you feel when you first started doing ministry work? You knew that it was gonna be, you know, less money than what you used to work in. How did you feel going off and just jump? Like I think of it like jumping off a
Yeah,
diving board, just going
especially at my
straight
age
into
when
the
you do
deep
it
end.
when you're
Because
36.
yeah, you're going off and
Yeah,
you're not coming back.
yeah,
And to me, because I'm only 17, I'm still trying to figure stuff out. But I kind of get, I guess, worried sometimes that it's not going to work out
hmm,
because I get kind of like switched up. I do want to, you know, have the money for my family to support my family and stuff. But I also want to do ministry work, which is I know God is leading me that, and I know God will provide.
yeah,
But something inside of me is just like, I don't completely trust it. Which
right,
I know I should trust God 100%, but
yeah.
it's that human nature that
Hmm.
I don't want to 100%.
Well, with me, I don't make what I did when I worked in a secular job. I mean, it's not as much, but it's more fulfilling. My family, God's taking care of us. We're fine. We're doing okay, and I'm happier now. And what I was making good money. I worked in a lab, and what happened was I was scared. I had a new fear. My fear was I want my family to have everything they want material wise. I wanted them to grow up and have the all the things that I didn't have, and all, you know how it is. So I wanted to get that, and they started, we started getting more stuff and moved and started getting new things and better things. But the thing was, I had a new fear after about 2 or 3 years of working like that because I missed my son's first year. I hardly ever saw him of growing up. Like him being a baby, I have very few memories of that. Then he turned 2, and I got in that same area. I went to a different job, but in the same company, doing a different job, paid a little bit less, but I still made quite a bit, but less than what I was making, so I could be home a little bit more. Still didn't see any of them very much. I wasn't going to church as much as I should have been going, and then it hit me. I thought, I don't even care about money. I just want to be with my family. I want to be able to go to church every Sunday and serve God. There's just all these convictions I started having. It just started piling up. And one thing led to another. It's a whole story in of itself. But I felt like God was calling me to ministry, and it was something I struggled with greatly. And one day I was in our family's business. I was in the office by myself, and I just said, God, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And I was terrified, and I just went for it. And best decision I ever made, because I just did what God wanted me to do and not what the world says is important. And not just the world. It can be your parents, your grandparents, your brother, your sister that want you to, and it's good. You want to be able to financially support your family. That's great. And God, and I mean, that's in scripture, support your family. But above all, do what God is calling you to do, no matter what. I mean, remember when it was 2 years ago, and you were thinking about surrendering the ministry, and I talked to you about Cortez and burning the ships.
Yeah.
I think it was the Spanish conquistadors when they'd come over,
Yeah.
and as Cortez, when all his troops had gotten out, he was worried that they wouldn't accomplish the mission, because once they got overwhelmed or something like that, they wouldn't be as hard fighting because the ships were there and they can just go back to Spain. So what did he do? He burned all the ships, so they didn't have no way back. So they had to
To
fight.
keep going.
Yes, that instinct kicked in, and they conquered, because that's what happens when you don't have no way back. You really dig in because there's no other way, there's nowhere else to go. And I had that mindset. I thought, if I'm doing this, I'm all in. There's no out routes. I'm going all in, and I was convicted, and I've been that way to this day. Best decision I ever made. And that's one of the things I was telling you was, if you're going to do it, which is cool. Right now you're young, pray about it. You got plenty of time. Seek more counsel from other people, and just kind of pray on it, sit on it, and see what happens. But at the end of the day, whatever God's convicting you with, that's what you need to do, and He'll lead you there. If you're seeking Him, you'll find Him.
Yeah, and that Cortez, it really reminded me of what I recently did, which was it was a big one, but delete YouTube
Oh wow,
because I like watching stuff on YouTube,
yeah,
and I
me
I
too.
see I see like Christian videos on there a lot, and
Yeah.
but I also see other videos. And the biggest one is YouTube Shorts, where I just get, like we talked about at the beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
podcast, I just get stuck doom scrolling in this all the time. And it was taking me away from my devotion with God,
Yeah.
and it was taking me away from my schoolwork.
Mm.
It was taking me away from my family time, just everything.
It shifted your
It
priorities big
it
time.
really like I was focused in on watching these videos.
How many guys your age you think that really affects?
I feel like at least, oh my gosh, nowadays,
Yeah, right now.
not even just guys, girls
Yeah,
too. I feel like it might be worse with girls. I don't know. I'd say maybe like 80%
right.
at
You
least.
think that's the top priority, and it messes with the relationship,
Oh,
schoolwork,
it
church?
definitely does.
Wow.
Yeah, it's becoming more noticeable, like more relevant to scroll on your phone rather than
Hmm.
do your homework. So people are procrastinating more nowadays.
Right.
And then procrastinating leads to cheating. They can
Yes.
just look it up or whatever, just do this instead of actually studying or
It's
doing
crazy.
whatever. But the point that I'm getting at is burning the ships. I deleted YouTube and it sucks because I want to watch those videos, but burning those ships, it forced me to do my schoolwork, to
Hmm.
spend time with my family, and to read my Bible, which is what I need to do. It's
Right.
what I really want to do,
Yeah.
but that got me trapped in a loop.
Yeah. It almost goes back to what we were talking about last week. You remember Romans? I can't remember what chapter and verse. I think it was
12. Wait, what are you talking about?
no, the
12:2?
one where he says, I do the things I don't want to do, and the things I want to do, I don't
Oh,
do.
Paul. Yeah.
Yes. Um,
I don't remember.
I'll get that here in a second. I'll pull that up. Just continue what you're talking about, and I'll get it here in just a second. It'll only take me like, I don't know.
But that's like, it really has freed me. The first day, I it was really like I would get on my phone, and I just had that muscle memory, like
Yeah.
swipe up, go to this app called, and then press the app.
Yes.
But the app's not there, and that really messed with my head. The
Does
second
it make you
day,
mad?
sometimes, yeah, some
See, so it controls your emotions.
sometimes.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't make me mad, but I'm like,
No, I get it.
why can't I just watch this? Sometimes I'll sit in my car or something, I have nothing else to do, and I'm like, okay, let me get on YouTube. YouTube's not there.
Entertainment's gone.
It's hard. Um,
I found the verse.
but
You ready? Oh,
yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the second day, it became a little bit easier. Third day, I started using Snapchat Spotlight, which I never use.
Well, I never heard of that.
It's another sliding thing, like just
It's like
like
reels.
TikTok,
Yeah.
yeah, just anything. And I started sliding. I'm like, no, stop,
You
just
just
stop.
traded smoking for dipping's what you did.
Basically,
You just
but
did something that's just as bad.
I just stopped it all.
Come on, man.
But the biggest thing before you say that verse
Yeah.
is Caleb was talking to me at lunch yesterday and said, or no, it was Monday. I stopped this on Sunday, but it was Monday. He was like, "Oh, Beau, by the way, because we would send each other like YouTube shorts
Yeah.
sometimes." He's like, "Beau, by the way, I deleted YouTube." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I decided to like do this thing for like a week,"
It's good.
which was my mindset.
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm gonna delete this for a week and see where it goes from there. I might even go further. I'm gonna try to go further."
Yeah.
But is the fact that we both deleted it at the same time, had the same mindset on it,
Right.
and what we needed to. I thought that was
Wow.
crazy.
That is cool.
But
That's really cool. You know how you're talking about changing your habits and what you do, and it
hmm
helps you out. Remember last Wednesday what we were talking about our lesson about change the way you change,
yeah, change the way you change it.
and that's this were Romans. It's chapter 7 verses 15 through 19. It says, "For I do not understand my own actions. Why do I keep scrolling through this
Yeah,
stuff? Why do I keep
I
going right back to it?"
I think about that while I'm doing it.
Right? And then when you're done, you feel awful, guilty, terrible. It's just in your mind, it's just
Yeah,
in a weird place.
just turn it off.
Right.
Yeah,
And then it goes on to say, "For I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate." So,
that's exactly it.
right. That's so we can all relate to that.
I mean, it's not even that hard. You're doing more by flipping your thumb over and over and over
Right.
rather than just turning it off, just clicking a button.
It's really it's dopamine in your brain. It's the whole like algorithm. If you like it, you get that rush and you start putting more and more stuff out. Well, that's the same way. I think we're so I don't know, we're just such entertained creatures
Oh,
nowadays. We have to have something 24/7
it's
going on in our minds cuz imagine if guys your age, I mean seriously, 16 to 18, instead of if they just gave up the internet other than schoolwork for a month, no internet, no cell phone. I mean, you can have your cell phones. Okay, you could text. I'll give you that and call. But other than that,
that's
no
it.
internet. That's it. What do you think you guys would feel like? It'd be like a digital detox where you would actually understand more about yourselves, about each other, instead of all this mind numbing scrolling that goes on. Like you said, the 80% of them. That's wild, but adults do it too. You guys ain't the only one. I guarantee if there's guys my age, there's probably 67-year-olds that do it all day long because they've
Mhm.
retired. It's like, this is cool. That's funny. And they have nothing else better to do. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because you could be watching funny videos that aren't, innately bad. It's just funny stuff like watching
Yeah,
animal videos. But it is bad once it becomes what it goes back to originally an idol, when it
and I
goes
don't.
back to
Yeah,
taking God's time away from you. And I'm all about a digital detox. I think that's something as a youth group we should try. And it's really on the honor system. Like it's on you to really go through with it because we can't
yeah.
all be together the whole month and I seen you.
There's 100% gonna be people that are
That
like
break
in
it.
their bedroom. They're like, okay, like I can't do this.
For no, yeah, yeah, for sure. But the rest of this verse, it's so good for what we're talking about. It says, "Now if I do what I do not want, I agree with the law that it is good. So now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells within me." And here's the part: "For I know that nothing good dwells in me, that is in my flesh. For I have the desire to do what is right. I have the desire to do what's right. I want to do what's right. I want to read my Bible as much as I should. I want to go out and make disciples. I do. I have that drive. I have that passion to go out and start a new ministry and do something in outreach in the community. That really sparks an interest in me. So I want what's good. I really do. Just like it says here in Scripture, it says, I have the desire to do what's right, but there's always a but not the ability to carry it out.
That's exactly it. I talked to you last week about me reading my Bible
Mm-hmm.
and how I always like have the desire. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna read my Bible. A few chapters
Mm-hmm.
in like Romans or something. I'm gonna go through it and I'm gonna study it. And then I see my Bible sitting on my nightstand, and I'm like, YouTube Shorts. But that's what it is though.
Yeah.
And now I do study my Bible every day, but that does happen. And I've never had like earlier in that verse it talks about how, you have that desire. I've never not had the desire not to read my Bible. I've never
Mm-hmm.
like looked at the Bible and was like, no, I don't want to read this." Like I don't I'm not in the middle of the day and I'm like, "No, I don't want to read this." I do want to read it,
Right.
but the dopamine takes over my mind.
Right.
Like because it's more exciting nowadays.
And that's it. That's exactly it. And like I said, it can be something that's not bad. You can watch
Mhm.
things that's hilarious. That's not bad,
Yeah.
but Satan will use that 100%. If I can keep them preoccupied with this stuff on their phone, it's going to keep them away from what really matters and what's really going to reach out. Do you remember? I don't remember. It was either a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night. I think it was Sunday morning. I remember Brielle said something when I was done. It was in there. It was in the classroom for sure. And I was talking about this very thing. I wish I had my phone on me. I don't even know where I put it. And I was sitting there and I walked up and I was in the middle of teaching. I said, how much are you going to learn if I'm doing this? And I just walked over there and I just started, and I found Facebook and I just started going through reels, one after the other. And I had it on silent. Nobody could hear it, but I was doing that. And I did it for about 30 seconds to a minute. And that feels like a long time when it gets
Mm.
quiet. I'm sitting here and I'm just going through it. And I look up. When I'm done, I set the phone down and I said, how much learning just occurred in the last minute?
I think I was there.
And like, none. And I said, how much discipling just happened? None. And then I said, and some of you guys told me that you'll be on it for 8 hours a
Oh,
day
it's
going through that
bad.
stuff, or more. Some of them had more. And I said, that was just 60 seconds. You guys are going through it anywhere from 2 to 8 hours a day on your YouTube shorts, your Facebook, whatever, Instagram, TikTok videos, hours and hours and hours. When it's okay, I guess, to do it for an hour. That's not that bad, I guess.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the time, you could be doing so much more. I mean,
And
productive things.
Jared, I could tell you that like scrolling through that stuff, you're forgetting that video two
Oh,
scrolls later.
yeah.
Maybe even like right after you scroll
Do you
past it.
remember any, all right,
Oh
name it,
gosh.
only 10 that you've seen in the last year, only 10 of them that stick out. Can you do 10 just right off the top of your head?
I can do like two
2 to
geography
3?
like and they're geography ones.
Right.
They're just ones that like actually have knowledge in them.
Yeah.
I can only name
That's in a
like
year.
maybe two of them in ever.
Right.
Ever.
That's what I'm saying. And think of how many you've actually watched. Thousands,
Thousands.
millions. I don't know.
Jared, I'm telling you, the other day we were looking at it was like look at Caden was talking about in class. He's like, okay, go do your liked videos because you can look at that on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
He's like, go all the way down to the bottom. See, we're just seeing like what our first liked video was, but it only caps out at 5,000. So once you like a
Only
video,
5,000.
yeah, I know it's bad, Jared. So once you like, once you like a video, the video that's at the very bottom like gets erased. So it
Right.
just like keeps going down. Mine was so bad with the videos that I liked. I kept watch, like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so bad that I scroll down to the bottom and it's like a week.
It was only a week to get to the bottom. Not years or months. It was a week.
It was like 2 weeks.
Did it not? Did it? Has that not? Did it hit you a little bit at that moment? Like, man,
Yeah,
I gotta slow down a little
it
bit.
did. That's when I was like, I'm deleting YouTube. I'm not doing that.
I think, and I'm not just saying this to be one of those old guys, but I think that is a big part of the reason that I think testing scores are down compared to, earlier. And it is. A lot of stuff's went down. And communication skills, verbal skills, written skills, all this stuff has really gotten low because it, it's mind numbing. You don't get any of that from real. You really don't. And that's what's taken center stage is reels, TikTok videos, just anything social media related, period. And we'll say YouTube social media. What outside of social media do you do that's fun, that's good, that entertains your brain, I guess, at that same level?
You know,
Outside, if you didn't have a screen around you, what could entertain you at that level?
tennis.
Mentally,
Oh,
mentally,
at this
that could
point,
keep your attention span that long.
at this point, nothing.
Does that sound like a
That
drug?
is like dystopian. That is
Yes,
like that's bad,
that's
Jared.
really bad.
But I'm being honest.
I know you are, and that's good.
It's trained my brain so much that I just
And you're not the worst one of the bunch. I promise you. I've asked it. You've been in class when I've asked this. Whose
mm,
is the worst? And I'm not going to say who it was, but I said 8 hours more, 10 hours more, 12 hours. It would be 12 hours a day on the
a
weekend.
day.
Yeah, a day on during the weekend. I said, how much during the week? During the school week when you have stuff to do, it was like 4 to 6 hours. How do you have time for that? I guess you stay up at night and look at it until 1 in the morning and then get up at 5 or 6 to go to school. How do you do that?
Let me tell you what my YouTube watch time was last week.
And this is after you stopped watching?
This is before,
Okay, I got you.
and then I'll tell you the after. 27 hours of YouTube watch time.
Oh my gosh. And
But
it wasn't sermons you were
but
watching.
no. But people's are a lot
Oh, I
worse.
know, yeah.
Because if you're getting like 8 hours a day, that's 56 hours, Jared.
Yes,
That's
yes,
56 hours.
yes.
And then
That's wild.
this week it's 2 hours because I had it for a little bit on Sunday and then it got deleted.
Into perspective, those hours put you in a room that's completely dark. Get your phone that you're watching on with your legs crossed, sitting there, and you can't move, and just sit there and watch it, and just let a videotape roll of you doing that. How I'm just saying, and it's quiet. That's how that to me. That's how I picture it.
That's sad.
And the world around you is going. It's going on. People are working. Babies are being born. People are getting married. People is going and learning and going to school and all kinds of stuff. The world's happening. People need help in the world. And then you're in that room with the screen sitting there looking down in a room and everything's going around, going on. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I promise you, I've done, and I've gotten better at it. But I've looked at my Facebook a day, and my Facebook a day is anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. What? Jared, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But a lot of it I put posting stuff for youth or for me and Byron's podcast. And a lot of it has to do with either church or podcast stuff.
Mhm.
For my own personal time, I'm at 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, maybe just kind of looking around at
It
it.
wasn't that bad.
That's not terrible, but still to me, that's a lot of time because I got a lot going on.
You could be doing
Yes,
way more important stuff than that.
yes, important things.
I saw a guy, he was at a college campus and he was showing this like whiteboard of like our time spent in life.
Mm-hmm.
And he had like all these squares for each month that we live and it was saying like, okay, we live this amount of squares.
Yeah,
Just talking about it and stuff. And he's like, this much is spent on school, this much is spent on spending time with family, this much is spent on eating and sleeping, which, a lot of it's spent on sleeping. That's like
yeah,
half of your lifespan.
yes,
But he said, and then you're left with like about 15 years or about like 20 somewhere around that range years left of free time.
mm-hmm.
And over half of that is spent scrolling on social media.
You've wasted your life. Not you, just I'm talking
No,
about in
no,
general.
yeah, I
People.
know.
And I'll just look at the camera. You've wasted your life basically because you're either asleep or you're on social media. That's a waste of life. That's a waste of time. That's a waste of talent. That's a waste of, I don't know, opportunity. Think of all the things that has been wasted staring at a screen.
And I completely believe that
I do
because
too. I
there
really do.
there was some days that I would come home from school, get on YouTube or something, start scrolling. I get sick of YouTube. Okay, let's go to Instagram. I get sick of Instagram. Okay, let's watch Netflix or something.
Yes,
And it just keeps going where I scream dopamine. I
yes,
just need that dopamine
yes. And
until I go to sleep.
you just keep looking at it. It's like me. Like I was talking about that 4 hours of Facebook, it dawned on me a while ago. I watch other pastors in the area. I watch their sermons or some guys that I like watching on Facebook down in Texas. I watch sermons and stuff on Facebook. That's some of my hours too. But I'm sitting here thinking about the different things. So Facebook, I've burnt that out. So then I go to YouTube because I want to watch these debates on, that people debate each other on
Yeah.
theology and things like that. But it's different than Facebook. So this is different. It's a different kind of feel to it. So it's new. But then over the hours, I'm still looking at that. You know what I mean? Or I'm looking at
Mm.
a TV screen. It's still me sitting around. If you couldn't hear anything and you were just watching me and you couldn't see what I was watching, you wouldn't know I was going to these different platforms and jumping around watching different things. You'd just see me sitting in a chair watching a screen. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And teenagers now, I guess you guys, like you said, YouTube, jump over to Instagram, jump over to TikTok, and it's all different, but it's all the same. I mean, think of how much life has been wasted on just staring at a screen. That blows my mind. That's wild. I just didn't think about that way. I've seen the sleep thing, where this much of your life you're asleep. And I thought that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
half my life. Yeah, kind of scary to think I'm sleeping that
Think
much my
about
whole
how much
life.
you scroll.
And that's a
That's actually wasted. Cause
yes.
sleep, like you need sleep,
Right, yeah, yeah.
but scrolling, you don't need that.
Do you?
No.
Well, would some people say you do?
Yeah.
They would fight over it
Oh
because
gosh.
it's like taking a one of the binky things from a baby and they cry when you take it away because they want it so bad. I think that's social media for a lot of people. I mean, right now we're talking about something in a negative way, but guess what? As soon as tomorrow evening rolls around, I'll be uploading this very thing to YouTube, to Facebook, so people can watch it saying, "Don't do this
Stop
thing.
watching it. Stop watching.
Stop,
Turn it
turn it
off. Turn it
off
off.
right now. Just turn off everything." But seriously, though, isn't that weird? We're
Yeah.
using it because we know a lot of people watch it. Obviously, it's a problem. So we use this avenue to talk about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't, no one's going to hear us, right?
Yep.
Except for the people in our immediate circle. And that's another thing. I heard a guy talking, and he was talking about just phones in general, texting, calling, Facebook, whatever. And he said, here's how we know society's hit a major issue with phones or social media. And he said, when you wake up in the morning, if the first thing you do is look at your phone, other than for an alarm clock, before you speak to someone or make any interactions, there's a problem. If your kids walk in the room and you're having a conversation while you're looking at your phone, there's an issue. He said if your teenager is looking at a phone while you're trying to address something to them and they're actually having a conversation with you, but they're looking at their phone as they're talking, there's an issue. He said when people can't put that down and actually, like me and you're doing right now, interacting without something else going on the side, there's an issue. And he said that's the majority of Americans right now. We have an issue where that's going to be in our hands in everything we do. They said little kids, and that's what I was talking about, infants up to 10, 11, 12 years old before adolescence hits, they see this growing up. They watch this growing up as normal. So when they get that age, it's
That's
normal.
normal. It's a normal part of life.
Right. It's like you're supposed to drive with two hands on the wheel, but you see dad driving like this, so we all drive like this.
Yeah.
It's not a big thing. We don't think about it. We see mom and dad always on these growing up. And your generation, would they have cell phones when you were a kid?
Yeah. I mean, like the iPhone came around
Okay.
2007. So yeah.
The first phone I got, I was in college, 2005. That's the first time I ever got a phone. It was a flip phone with very limited minutes, didn't have internet. And the first phone I had with internet, I was in the military. It was 2006 or 7. That's the first time I had a true phone, but they still didn't have the stuff they have now. You couldn't watch YouTube on it or anything.
Mm.
So, I mean, growing up, the majority of my life, we didn't have it. And the crazy part is I'm just as attached to this as you guys are. You know what I mean? Like I'm just as dependent on it. I don't know. I think we should do that though. I think we should try to do and then
Just
we
a
can
little
check
bit
each
of
other's minutes.
screen fast.
Yeah, and check it every Sunday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Say, all right, everybody get your phones out.
Everybody get in the line. We're gonna
Everybody get your phones out. Let me see the minutes on these social media platforms. But I don't know. That sounds like a good thing. But anyways, anything you want to wrap up with?
No, I mean, I just feel like we need to get better at that. I mean, I could tell you that about you talking about the first thing you do when you wake up is get on your phone. I do
Mm,
that every morning,
same here.
and I guarantee 99% of the kids in my grade they do that every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you're waking up on time, just enough time for you to get ready, eat breakfast, and go to school,
Yeah.
they still spend that time like looking on their phone and stuff.
Yeah.
I just To me, it's just an essential part of me waking up in the morning. I just need it.
It's like zombies walking around.
Oh,
You're just chained to this thing.
this is
It's true.
making
It's not even freedom. It
this is
feels
like
like freedom.
this is waking me up.
Yeah.
Like I feel like,
Well, and
what am
it
I
feels
doing?
like there's freedom here. Like, oh man, I got all this freedom to look at all this, but you're chained to it. Oh, you're so chained.
And then
Freedom's out
and
here.
you forget reality, the fact that you have obligations,
Right.
you have
Yes.
responsibilities.
Yes, absolutely. And that's it. Prioritizing things that become an idol has your affections, it has your drive, it has your love, and it upsets you when you can't have it. Anything that messes with your emotions, you have an affection for it. It's like right now, boom, you saw it light up. Now I'm thinking, because it's the Ring doorbell. Now I can
Uh-huh.
see somebody just came to the door. Who is that? So it just got in my hand again. It's always going to be, ooh man, this. I'm going to do a lesson. I don't know what yet.
It's so weird. You're just talking to me, notification
We
comes up.
both,
I'm not gonna know what that is, but I immediately just go
boom, yes, we both just straight to it. Just what is that? Oh, it's the Ring. Okay, cool. It's in the middle of a podcast. That's why I leave it over here so it doesn't distract me. I'll have to do that so it doesn't. Yeah, like you have it. You do that because why?
because if it buzzes or
Notifications.
anything, I'm
It's got
looking.
your
I'm
attention.
looking.
And so when you're not in class, and most kids do it in class, or asleep, it's got your attention, right?
Mhm.
Snapchat, texting, calls. Yeah, we're going to have to do a lesson on that. That's good. And we're talking about idols. I didn't even know that was going here for idols, but that was a good conversation.
Yeah, I think we summed it up pretty well
Mm-hmm.
of what it is, because I guarantee if you're watching this podcast right now or listening to it, whatever it is, you're dealing with some sort of problem. If it has to do, we're talking about idols here.
Yeah.
You're dealing with some sort of problem with idols, right? And that it doesn't even have to be phones. It can be anything else. It can even be thinking about people,
Yeah. A relationship. Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah.
And it can be thinking about books, movies, just anything like that.
Yeah.
Everybody has a problem with it.
And it can even be an unhealthy amount of something that's good, like golf or something like that, where you just obsess over it. And you know what? I'm just going to skip Sunday just one time because I'm going to go to the lake and go fishing because you
Yeah.
love fishing so much. Or I'm going to skip a Wednesday night where my wife's going to be going or my husband's going to be going to church, but I really got this thing I'd rather do. And
Hmm.
but you've been doing it all throughout the week anyways. It's just that's your thing. And it could be as simple as a streaming a show or something like that.
The biggest problem with people is that they don't realize what their idols are. And the best way to get rid of that problem is to realize and go through scripture, read about idolatry and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and see how you can better your relationship with God instead
Yeah.
of having these things block your way because they are blinding you. It's like
Yeah.
having my phone just right, like that's God over there. I'm just having my
That's
phone right
it.
here. I can't see him.
That's
I'm
right.
looking at my phone.
That's right.
That's blinding you.
That's right.
So I think that's just the best way, and that's all I got.
There's two things that I'd say to do. Pray about it, obviously, and have accountability.
Hmm.
Have people, friends, family members, pastors that can hold you accountable. And you have to be willing to admit that I got an issue with this. And I think it's safe to say everybody has an issue with that, with phones. I
I
mean,
think,
the
yeah,
majority of people have that
I'd
issue.
say so.
And it doesn't have to be things as serious as a filthy show. It's just simple scrolling, like,
Yeah.
man, this is really going to be an issue. I need to cut back on this. Well, how do I accountable? Like we do on our Bible app that we have that we can go through and do plans together, or call me and we'll do something on the phone for the next hour. Wow, a whole hour? Yeah, a whole hour. We're not going to be on the phone or look at it for an hour. Well, you'll have to be face to face on a computer, but like when we used to do the thing on WhatsApp, we'd go and do the Bible together.
Yeah.
And we're going to start doing that again, by the way.
Yeah, we need to.
And I want to go through the book of Acts with it. But anyways, doing things like that, where we're still looking at a screen to see each other, but we have a physical copy of the Bible. We got it out. We're looking at it. We're talking about scripture together. And we're not looking at social media apps. We're not looking at streaming. We're not anything else. Go ahead.
And I'll tell you this one last thing because we're cutting it really close on time. We went a little bit farther
I went
than
way
we
over. It's
Yeah, a lot.
5:25.
Yeah, I try to try to soften it a little bit, but the fact that not having YouTube when I go to brush my teeth or do whatever in the mirror in the morning, I like to have you know YouTube or something playing in the background just to have some noise or
Yeah.
whatever because I need that distraction, that dopamine, whatever. But I've forced myself because I burnt those bridges to get on the Bible app and play my devotions out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
that's
what I do.
really helped me and it
Mhm.
opened my eyes. I'm like,
Yeah.
I like to have something playing in the background. People just do.
Mhm.
But the fact that I now my only option is the Bible, but I want it to be my only option,
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. Replacing those habits, you're changing the way you change.
Hmm.
You're replacing those things with good things.
Yeah.
That's good. And I could say end it on anything. I encourage people listening, if you've made it this far, good for you, um, to try to go an hour without any apps, any screens, and just get into the Word, the physical copy of God's Word. So you're not tempted to look at something. I love the Bible app and I'll use it all the time. But if I want to be distraction free, I have to go to my regular Bible. I have to, or I'm going to be distracted. So I encourage you to try at least an hour. And you're like, Jared, I don't know if I could do it for an hour. Try 15 minutes. Start out easy. Go through one of the New Testament books. Book of John's great. That's what I always tell the youth. If you're going to start somewhere, that's a great book to go in. But anyways, so yeah, digital detox. We're gonna have a lesson on that soon. Now that I know what I know, and it is an issue, and not just with youth, but with everybody. And let's not make things an idol. Putting anything above God.
Yep.
Let's keep Him number one. All right, you good?
Yep.
All right, well, I'm
Exactly.
good. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching. If there's anything that we can help you with here at First Baptist Church of Queen, please let me know. I'm the associate pastor. My name is Jared Morphew. We love you guys, and we hope that you have a good week, and we'll see you next time.